Hello, so it is 3 minutes now until Becca's Bookoplathon readathon starts. I have decided to do it, but is this the least prepared I've ever been for a readathon? Yes it is. I haven't even found my tripod to put this camera on. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're gonna try it just for fun. I haven't been doing a lot of readathons this year just because I felt like I haven't had the time or the energy or the organizational power, and so it hasn't been happening. Just been getting my own reading done. But Bookoplathon is just like a fun 48-hour readathon. Every 12 hours there are new reading prompts announced, 8 in total, all based on Becca's Bookopoly board that she uses every month to pick her books. So what do I have to read for this? At the moment, I'm in progress with my audiobook. I'm reading Killers of the Dawn, which is the 10th book, I think, in the Cirque du Freak series, which is all about this boy named Darren Shan who becomes a half vampire, and they're all involved in this war with the Vampanese. In the last book, he had to go back to school. This one, they're kind of amping up for the final battle, but every single audiobook is only like 4 to 6 hours long, so they're super short, and I just want to binge my way to the end of the series. Now, the first prompt is to read a book with a dark cover or a fantasy. All these books count for that, so I'm just going to try this afternoon to do some like housework sprints while I listen to those audiobooks, and hopefully I can finish off the series before tonight. I'm going to go over to Jason's, and so I'll kind of put the readathon on pause, and then tomorrow I'll come back and see whether I can keep up or not. As well, on Monday I have to work, so I might give myself like a little extended reading period because like time zones are not my friend, and everyone else will still be on the weekend, but I'll be at work, so I think it's fair. So in the past for Bookopoly, I have been really organized and looked at the board and had books that would perhaps fit the prompts. I don't have that this time. I just have those audiobooks. I have a short story anthology that I'm reading with Maori mythology in it, Purako, so I could continue that. I also have these 2 books with short stories in them that I could read, and like I guess at a stretch I could count a single short story for a prompt if it happened to fit. They're all fantasy and science fiction, so if anything comes up not in that genre, I'm gonna struggle. I do also have actually some graphic novels, so I have The Girl from the Other Side, some books from that series, and some books from The Wicked and the Divine that I could read. So I have a few options, but whether they'll fit for the prompts, I don't know. But I think for the first prompt, I'm sorted. I also think that this is maybe gonna start momentarily. It's 1 o'clock, so technically the readathon has started.
Froze. What is that, Kelsey? Are you still here? Or is it me that's froze? It's me.
Frozen to me too.
Is it me?
No.
Have I frozen?
No.
Oh, I'm good. Right, cool. Oh, Zach's back. It's just like, let's get all of the technical difficulties out of the way now.
Starla's still frozen.
Yeah, Starla's still frozen. But yeah, welcome. I will let everybody introduce themselves.
Honestly, I kind of feel like napping now, but I'm supposed to be leaving for Jason soon, so I guess I better wake up. I finished the first book from Cirque du Freak. It's not the first book. I think I've got 3 more to go, so that would mean it's the 9th book I just finished. Is that what I said before? I don't know. I will say this particular one, the police got involved in this war with the Vampanese, and a lot of the end of it was just fighting, and I don't really like just long drawn out battle scenes, so that was a bit tedious. But right at the end there was a cliffhanger. It does that quite often with these books, and so that's why I'm so glad. I'm just gonna like finish the whole series in one go now, because I don't then have to wait out what's happening with that. So I guess while I drive over to Jason's, it's a half-hour drive, and then I'll drive back at some point, so I should be able to get through a decent amount of the next one while I do that. And if I finish at least 2 books from that series, I can count 1 for the dark cover and 1 for the fantasy book, but we'll see when I get back tomorrow morning what the new prompts are and whether that's going to work out for me. Also, I did manage to do a fair amount of housework. Probably not as much as I was hoping to, but a decent amount while I was listening to it. This is the first time I've been able to lie on my spare bed in ages because it's been covered in crap, and I finally cleared it off. I mean, sure, maybe I just moved some of the crap to other places where it's less in the way, but still, I can lie here now, which is nice. Especially in the afternoon where the spot kind of gets some nice sun. Anyway, I better not lie here too long or I'm honestly gonna fall asleep. Okay, once again, another announcement is imminent and I am just getting my shit together. I just got back from Jason's. I have been listening to Lake of Souls. Did I say it was the 9th book in the series? I think it's the 9th book in the series. So I've got about 45 minutes of actual listening left in this. I do think it's like a little bit of a deviation, a sidetrack from the main plot about the war with the Vampanese. So I thought that would be interesting because we're going to find out the identity of this ghost person that's been accompanying Darren all this time. But I feel like I should have some guesses and I don't have any guesses. And I thought it would be less action, but it hasn't really. It's been still, we keep having to fight this panther and just adventure around, which I think a lot of people would like that action, but I want more plot. Anyway, I'm going to try and finish that off before I start anything else. I did have a look at the prompts that were announced while I was at Jason's and while I was sleeping, because it would have been 1 AM my time, and I am not giving up sleep for a readathon at this point in time. Anyway, I saw the prompts were contemporary and also POC rep. So, what I can read for that is I've been reading this short story anthology called Purako, which is a whole bunch of Maori mythology retellings, and I have been really loving it, but I haven't finished it, even though I meant to finish it a long time ago, a week ago. A week's not that long. So I think I'll try and finish that off. I'll probably count that for POC rep, but some of the short stories are more contemporary, so I could count them for that as well, potentially, if I have to. Although, I also just downloaded volume 2 of Giant Days on my iPad, so that's like a graphic novel series about these girls at university, and I really enjoyed volume 1, so I'm looking forward to volume 2. I think I've got my computer on mute because the live stream has started, but I'm sure they'll muck around a bit before they announce the next prompts. So I think I have a plan for getting to the prompts that I've missed, but it's already time for the next prompts to be announced, so I guess we'll see when they get announced whether it ruins all my plans. I also still need to think about what else I need to get done today before I go back to work tomorrow. I think I have a meeting tomorrow that I maybe need to do a tiny bit of prep for, and I probably wanted to film a video today because I've been so far behind on filming videos lately. Oh, and I need to do some subtitles and I need to get my reading vlog from last week up. I've got lots to do as well as reading, but I kind of just want to read, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Bookoplathon board roll number 3 is an 8, and that is the first book in a series.
Did that play okay, firstly?
I saw it. Perfect.
Oh my god. Okay, so the first roll is the first book in a series. I really hope this really fits with everyone. I hope it's okay.
It fits with mine.
Yeah, it's not that I can change it or anything, so yeah. And then, are you guys ready for the second roll? Because I am ready for the second roll. I think. I'll just share the screen again. And then, yeah, so this is the second roll.
2021 board roll number 3 is a 9, and that is a chance card, and my chance card is Confess by Colleen Hoover.
Ooh. Okay, so you guys don't have to read Confess by Colleen Hoover. That's not what the chance card is. So Becca explained this to me. So if you have your TBR and you have a set amount of books that you'd like to read, you have to pick the same amount of books for the books that you want to read and the books that you maybe don't want to read as much. You number them, you give them each a number, and then you can use a random number generator to pick which books you end up having to read.
Okay, first book in the series is a little bit annoying because I was mostly trying to use this readathon to like finish series. And I have a rule for myself this year that I won't start any new series until I finish all the series I have in progress. So if I'm starting a new series, it'll have to be something I'm really excited about, but also something really short. I think I'm going to have to do some research to work out a solution for that. However, the chance card one, I didn't figure out any chance card ones, but I do have a bunch of books that I was hoping to read for this readathon. So what I might do is I'll write them all down, and a lot of them are parts of series. So I'll write them all down, including the ones further on in the series, and then I'll use my new multi-sided dice to roll and pick one, and if it's one further in the series, then I'll have to read all the ones before that, and that kind of covers for the fact that some of these are meant to be ones you don't want to read, even though all of these are ones that I want to read. But like, I'm increasing the difficulty level if I get one right at the end of the series. Okay, I'll go and do that, and I'll see if I can work out a first book in a series that I would be willing to have a go at. Okay, so I've got my list of books, and I've also got a 4-sided die and a 10-sided die, because that adds up to 14. There's 14 books on my list. So we'll roll this and we'll see. It's probably not, like, the probabilities probably aren't even, but like close enough. That's the best we can do at last minute. Let's roll. So we've got 4 and 2, which is 6, which means I'm gonna get to read some of The Wicked and the Divine. So I have to read at least 2 volumes of The Wicked and the Divine. I'm excited to continue the series. The art in it is really beautiful. It's about this world where every, I forget how often, 90 years or something, the gods start coming back, but like teenagers become these gods. But also, like, while they're alive, they get treated like pop stars and they have a really wonderful life, but they don't tend to live very long as gods. I've read the first 3 volumes. And I've kind of forgotten what happens, so I guess I will have to try and remember the details. I think somebody was killing the gods and we were trying to figure out who it was. And I still haven't figured out a first book in a series. That's going to require more time.
I'm scared to lose myself or to grow old. And all my shadows, they just don't know where to go. And life is like a dream where I walk down a long road. And when I wake up, I just don't know where to go. I guess I'll never know.
I just had an accidental nap, but obviously I needed it. It's not helping me with getting through these books though. Oh, and of course a plane decides to fly through just as I decide to film this. I have had my lovely neighbor cat visiting me, and she has been napping with me, so I'll say it's her bad influence. So firstly, I finished off Lake of Souls. I think if I had gone through and written all the people who have died in the series down, I could have guessed who this ghost was, but because I've read this series so spread out, it was harder. I think this series really would be better to read just all in one go, because all the books are so short. I feel like as well, this last one was really just an excuse to bring dragons into the story. It's a little bit of time travel perhaps, but in a lot of ways I feel like it just doesn't fit with the bigger story, because what I really want from a long-running series is near the end for things to all be connecting, and I felt like in some of the last couple of books it was, but this one maybe a little bit with what happened at the end, but mostly no. I feel like the last few books in the series I haven't been enjoying as much as I've enjoyed the beginning of the series. But anyway, I've got 2 more books of that series to go. I don't know if I'm going to get it done in this readathon because I don't think it fits with any of the prompts, although still got 2 more to find out what they are overnight. As well, I decided my first book in a series is going to be Finna by Nino Cipri? I'll look that up. Anyway, Finna was one I put on the list of 21 standalones that I wanted to read in the year. However, I then found out that it is the beginning of a series, even though it can be read as a standalone. So it fits the prompt, but also I'm not necessarily committing myself to continue the series if I don't want to. Also, it's super short. And I bought the ebook, so I think it should be pretty quick to read. Hopefully I can find time to do it tonight, and hopefully I can finish Purako off today, this afternoon, although what time is it? 4 o'clock. It's already 4 o'clock. And I feel like it's probably still going to take me 2 or 3 hours to finish Purako, and that's if I don't get distracted by doing other things, which I probably will. I think it's going to be tight, but I guess that's the challenge of a readathon. So I better go and actually read. This pussycat refuses to leave. Pussycat, you gotta go home. Huh? You don't care. You don't care. Okay. You just stay there forever then. Okay, so I am 75% of the way through Purako and now it's like 7 o'clock and I feel like I'm gonna run out of time. Also, I feel like just reading short stories all the time, my brain is kind of dying a little bit, so I'm gonna take a break. And I've got Giant Days. You can't see that because it's just super bright. Is it? Yeah, Giant Days. So I'm gonna read that as a break. And then I can tick off the contemporary prompt and then I guess I'll get back into Purako. Maybe. Also, I need to have some dinner. I wish I had more audiobooks to listen to for these prompts so that I could listen to them while I'm eating and doing housework and other things. But maybe while I have dinner I can manage to read this. Anyway, I am enjoying Purako. It's just short stories aren't always my favorite. Like some of them are a lot better than other ones and I mean what it is teaching me is that I do actually know a lot more Maori mythology than I realized, but also that there's a lot of Maori mythology that I don't know. So there's still lots more to learn, which is cool. There have been a few stories I really liked. One about Pania on the Reef, which is this statue down in Napier. And then as well there was a really cool one about this Maori band. It was kind of very similar to Daisy Jones and the Six in that it was kind of telling the different band members' perspectives and you could see how they were telling the same story but from different perspectives. There was no Daisy though. Anyway, yes, Giant Days.
Dancing to your beat, wanted to blend in, no self-expression, 'cause I wanted you to see I'm not so different, fit in your system. So why do you tell me I'm wrong when I say the same things that you say, and you double the standards because...
Okay, so I finished, what's it called? Giant Days. And I really liked it. It's just a lot of fun, kind of funny, nothing too serious, nothing too, like, the plot's not amazing, but it's just fun. I kind of like it. I like the different characters and just them being friends and doing university stuff. And I kind of miss university sometimes, now that I'm like an adult. I kind of like to just go back to university and study and do fun things. I mean, hard work, but good times as well. Anyway, I think I've decided that I'm now going to go and take a bath, and while I'm taking a bath I will read The Wicked and the Divine. Why do I keep trying to show this to you when that doesn't work out? Like that. So I'll go and read some of this in the bath. I think I worked out, like, technically Purako is a bunch of short stories and I've read some short stories from that, so technically I could argue that I've completed that prompt. So I'll read this and then maybe I'll just start Finna and I can get back to the short stories tomorrow or something. I just can't do more short stories today, I don't think.
I'm scared to lose myself or to grow old. And all my shadows, they just don't know where to go. And life is like a dream where I walk down a long road. And when I wake up, I just don't know where to go.
Hello, so I just finished The Wicked and the Divine Volume 5. Anyway, I really love that series. Sometimes the plot doesn't entirely make sense and I'm not sure if it's just that it's not clear or if I'm dumb, but I really love the art and I really love the concepts and I really like the mystery that we're kind of discovering and all these gods kind of fighting against each other about what the best thing to do is, as well as the fact that they're all just teenagers, so they're having like teenage problems as well. So I really need to go to sleep. I have Finna with me on my ebook, but honestly I think I'll read a little bit of it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to fall asleep like pretty quickly. And actually I need to because I've got to go to work tomorrow and in the morning I'm helping to run a workshop. But when I wake up tomorrow I'll check what the new prompts are and we'll see whether we think it's possible that I'll be able to complete them. I haven't completed all of the 6 prompts so far, but I have completed 1 from every pair. So like technically still winning depending, and I guess depending on what comes up. Tomorrow I can try and finish Purako and Finna, although I'm going to have limited time tomorrow. I am definitely going to give myself an extension because with the time zones and work, I don't think it's fair. I think I get an extension. I think that's fair. Anyway, fingers crossed for really easy prompts tomorrow. Hello, so it is 5 o'clock. I just finished work. I did come home midday so that now I'm straight away at home. I don't have to commute, which would have taken more of my evening out. So technically the readathon is finished at this point. However, I'm giving myself an extension because pretty much since the prompts were announced at 1 a.m. my time last night, I've either been sleeping or working, and my work's not really the kind of time where you can get much reading done. I could have got some reading done during my commute, but I didn't even have a chance to think about the prompts properly. So the 2 prompts that were announced while I was sleeping. First one is out of your comfort zone, so reading a genre you don't normally read, and then the other one was read a book in present day. Now at first I thought, cool, I can read the next 2 volumes of Giant Days for that and it will count for both of them, but there's a hold queue on the 4th volume, so I can read the 3rd volume but not the 4th one. So I'm going to count that 3rd volume for set in the present day, and then I did a search because I really would like an audiobook so I could get some shit done while trying to finish off this readathon. And what I found is Long Way Down. Is that what it's called? Yes, Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. It's only like 2 hours or less than that, and I'll probably listen to it at 1.5 speed, so it'll be super quick. But it's like a contemporary about this boy whose brother gets shot, and then as he's taking the lift down to get revenge, people like the ghosts of past, present, and future or something come and have a conversation with him. I believe it's also written in like verse, which is not something that I'm at all comfortable with reading. So yeah, I think it's more of a contemporary, even though there's that speculative element. I think it's more of a contemporary and it's told in verse. So that's out of my comfort zone. So that'll mean if I can read both of those, I can tick both of those prompts off, and I should be able to do that within a couple of hours. So that'll be like 7 o'clock. Also last night I read the first chapter of Finna and then I fell asleep. I was so tired, but I did really like it. So I definitely think I should be able to blast through that in a couple of hours. That would be 9 o'clock. And then I just have Purako to finish, which technically if I don't finish, I could still say that I won the readathon because I read some short stories from that. So because of that, I should probably leave Purako to the end, but the amount I've got left is still kind of the amount that I read yesterday, and I know just reading one short story after the other, I find it kind of soul destroying. I don't really know why. But anyway, I think what I might try and do is read one of those short stories between each of the other things and then finish it off, maybe. Or not, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna read Long Way Down first so that I can get some shit done and then hopefully be ready for a blissful night of reading. Okay, so I finished listening to Long Way Down and like, it was good. I think there's a reason why I don't tend to read contemporary though, because even though it was well written, like I didn't feel like it was too strongly in verse because the audiobook's written by the narrator. I think he just read it very naturally, so the verse didn't really seem that obvious. But like, it's just the story about this guy going down in the lift, and then kind of all these people he's related to are coming and telling their story of violence, which kind of gives him some perspective to the revenge he's about to go and enact. And like, it's a good story, a good message. Maybe it was just too short. It did feel like it ended very suddenly. I don't know. 1, I don't like shorter stories, and 2, I don't really like contemporary. I'm like, do something really surprising. Nothing that happened was really very surprising. And maybe I'm just a cold-hearted bitch, but I didn't really feel anything. Yeah, that probably is pretty cold-hearted. Because I guess if I felt anything, it's just like the depressing truth that so much of our world sets people up for failure. Well, that's depressing. I can't afford to get depressed right now because I need to finish this readathon. So, after I listened to that audiobook, I did read one short story from Purako, and it was this one where there's like this council session where they're getting feedback on this subdivision that they're making, and these like mythological Maori monsters turn up and basically say, if you subdivide this property, we're going to consider it an act of war. So... that was kind of fun. Anyway, now I'm gonna go and read Giant Days. Again, I'm showing it to you like this, it doesn't work. Giant Days, Volume 4. I'll listen, I'll read that. It should also be fun and quick. Hopefully, what time is it? 6:45. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, I finished Giant Days and I really liked it. It kind of makes me miss going to university and just like hanging out with your friends and having dramas and learning stuff. Such good days. I wanna just have my own space and time again, because work takes so much of that away. And I know that when you're at uni you have to study and do exams and write essays and all that, but like work is just like constant assignments that you're being graded for, I guess. Anyway, I miss university. I also just read another story from Purako. It was kind of just about the fact that later generations of Maori have kind of been separated from their culture and their history and their language because of a lot of stuff that happened when the Europeans first came, with a little hint of mythology in there. It was okay, but nothing too like phenomenal compared to some of the other stories. Probably not my favorite. So now it's 7:40. I like to go to bed at 10 o'clock, so that's kind of our cutoff time. Maybe I could read till 11ish, but I don't want to stay up too late because I got to get up early for work again, and I have to go into the office again tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to pick up Finna now and read some of it, all of it. I don't know. I guess I'll read it and we'll see how we go. So I had a bath because it was necessary. It's now 9:40, so my bedtime is 10 o'clock. I can stay up a little bit past that. Reading. I am up to 70% in Finna. Oops, I just jumped several pages. So basically they're jumping from dimension to dimension trying to find this lost grandmother. I will say, like, I forget, did I talk about what this book is about? But basically this couple have just broken up. Probably not a surprise, but I am getting a bit sick of the romance. I didn't mind it in the beginning, but it goes on a bit for me. But I do think this is a YA book, and again, I think for the target market, probably very enjoyable, but I just don't really like romance, especially like breakup romance. I guess as well, like, it's written in a really fun way and I'm enjoying skipping through the different multiverses, but like, it doesn't feel particularly tricksy, although there's something up with this furniture company that they work with. Very suspicious. So I'm gonna try and finish it before I have to go to sleep. I think I'll stay up a bit past 10. As well, for Purako, I think I've just got one main story to go, and then there's a bunch of biographies at the end where it describes, like, I think it's going to describe some of the mythology. But one more story. I'm 90% of the way through. It's quite a long story, unfortunately. I did just read this one, and in the beginning I thought it was really cool. It was kind of written in second person, and the book you were reading had kind of turned into a computer game. And if you win the computer game, you get to go back with your ex, who maybe you'd kind of killed, but it was very bizarre, and I really liked the beginning. I thought it was such a cool concept. It was kind of like this dystopian future where everything was technology, but then I actually skipped the end because it just got weirder and weirder until it wasn't really even making sense, and it was just like pulling in all this random New Zealand stuff, but not in a way that made any sense. It was weird, and I'm sad because it was a cool idea, but what the fuck was basically my response to the end of that. So I'm gonna finish these. That's what I need to do. I'm so close to having finished everything. I'm so close. Okay, so I've just finished Finna, and I liked it. I have to say that ending, I had heard people say that it could definitely be read as a standalone, and it's really interesting to see how you could read that ending and read it as like a very open-ended standalone ending. However, knowing that there are more books in the series, it's also like a really good opening to a continuation of the series. So that's interesting. I did like it, but very short. I think I would have liked more. And I guess the next book will have more, so I guess now I'll probably read the next book. Will I? I think so. Right now, I really need to go to bed. I'm getting quite tired. I'm going to try to read the last story of Purako before I fall asleep. Will I manage it? I don't know, but I'll try. Probably I won't update you because I'm going to turn off the lights and read in bed by the light of my phone. And so if I fall asleep or I finish it, I'm just going to go to sleep. So I'll probably catch you up in the morning as to whether I'm a winner. However, technically, I have already won because I could count these short stories, just one of them as a success of one of those prompts. So I've read 8 things, one for each prompt. yes, I mean, yes, I gave myself an extension, but it's not really fair if I don't get any time to read after the last prompt was announced, is it? No, it's not. So the extension is fair. Anyway, bedtime. Good night. Hello, so it's Saturday and I'm only just filming a final wrap-up of this Bookopoly vlog. It's like a whole week later. Turns out if I spend my Sunday getting ready for the week time reading instead, then I'm not ready for the week and I kind of struggle. So that was fun. But at least I completed the readathon. I actually worked out I read 9 things because I read 2 things for the chance card. So even though I read a lot of graphic novels as part of that, I'm still really happy with it. I also made progress on a bunch of series, which is one of my goals for the year, so that was good as well. I think actually the graphic novels were probably my favorite things that I read, so The Wicked and the Divine and Giant Days. I really love those series and I'm definitely going to be continuing those probably in April and seeing if I can catch up entirely on those series. I'm not sure if either of them are completely finished. I guess I need to find that out. Anyway, thank you as always to Becca for putting on a really fun readathon. I do like the way the prompts are kind of announced as the readathon goes along. It makes it kind of a fun challenge and kind of stops you from over preparing. Maybe it makes it a bit chaotic, but it's still fun. Also, thank you to you for watching this vlog. Do let me know if you have read any of the books that I read during Bookopoly, or if you're interested in reading them. I would love to talk with you more about them down in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you are doing well and I will see you next time.